4 Warthogs, 40 tanks, 23 minutes of pure devastation. This is how U.S. Marine Corps ground forces called in A-10 close air support and watched the most lethal gun in aviation history turn an enemy armored battalion into burning wreckage. October 4th, 2025. 6:47 a.m. Eastern Syria. U.S. Marines from 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines were pinned down outside Al-Bukamal. 40 Syrian T-72 tanks advancing on their position. BMP infantry fighting vehicles. Artillery support. The Marines had anti-tank weapons but were outnumbered 5-1. Ammunition running low. Casualties mounting. They needed air support. Needed it desperately. Needed it immediately. The call went out at 6:49 a.m. Troops in contact. Armor assault. Request immediate close air support. USS Bataan amphibious assault ship positioned 280 miles offshore in the Mediterranean received the call. Scrambled 4 AV-8B Harrier jump jets. But Harriers weren't enough for 40 tanks. The situation required specialized firepower, required the gun that flies. At 6:52 a.m., 4 A-10C Thunderbolt II Warthogs diverted from patrol mission over Iraq. Call sign Hog Flight. 4 aircraft. 16 AGM-65 Maverick missiles. 4,400 rounds of 30mm depleted uranium ammunition. 23 minutes of flight time to Marines' position. The Syrian tanks had 23 minutes to live. They just didn't know it yet. The Syrian Armor Battalion was well-equipped and aggressive. 40 T-72 M1 main battle tanks. Latest export variant. Reactive armor. Modern fire control. 125mm smoothbore guns. These weren't militia technicals. Were professional military force with Soviet-era hardware. Plus 20 BMP-2 infantry fighting vehicles, each carrying 7 soldiers. Anti-tank missiles. The Syrians had numerical superiority, had armor advantage, had artillery support. Believed they could overwhelm the Marine position before American air power arrived. Syrian commander had studied American tactics. Knew close air support took time. Knew he had window to assault. Crush the Marines. Withdraw before aircraft arrived. His timing calculations were about to prove fatally wrong. Captain Sarah Mitchell commanded Hog Flight, 38 years old, 14 years flying A-10s, combat tours in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya. She'd provided close air support for hundreds of troops in contact situations, had destroyed countless vehicles, saved innumerable lives, but she'd never faced 40 tanks in single engagement, never had targets set this large, this concentrated, this perfect for A-10 employment. Her 3 wingmen were equally experienced. Captain Rodriguez, Captain Williams, Captain Kim, 4 veteran Warthog drivers, flying the deadliest close air support platform ever built, about to demonstrate why ground forces pray for A-10s when armor attacks, about to show Syrian tankers why the GAU-8 Avenger is called the most devastating aircraft gun in history. What's your weapon of choice? Type A for A-10 close air support, Type B for artillery strike. Drop your answer below. The A-10C Thunderbolt II exists for one purpose: kill ground targets, support troops, win battles from the air. The aircraft is built around the GAU-8A Avenger, 7-barrel 30mm rotary cannon, longest, heaviest, most powerful aircraft gun ever deployed, fires 3,900 rounds per minute. Each round weighs 1.5 pounds. Muzzle velocity, 3,250 feet per second. The ammunition is depleted uranium, denser than lead, pyrophoric, catches fire on impact, penetrates armor. The gun generates so much recoil it equals the thrust of one engine. Firing the gun literally slows the aircraft, creates visible deceleration. That's the power. That's the lethality. That's why tanks fear the BRRT sound. Because that sound means death is here. The Marine Forward Air Controller called Hog Flight at 7:08 a.m. Hog 01, this is Reaper 2-3. We have 40 T-72s advancing from northwest. Range 2,000 meters. Multiple BMPs. We are taking fire. Request immediate attack. Danger close. Captain Mitchell acknowledged. Reaper 2-3. Hog 01. 4 A-10s inbound. ETA 3 minutes. Mark your position. The Marine popped orange smoke. Identified friendly location. Captain Mitchell saw it. saw the Marine position, saw the Syrian tanks advancing, saw 40 targets in the open, moving across desert terrain. No cover, no concealment. Just steel boxes waiting to be destroyed. She smiled. This was going to be educational. What would you do commanding Marines under tank assault? Comment your answer below. Hogflight arrived overhead at 7:10 a.m., 4 A-10s at 12,000 feet. Syrian tanks were 800 meters from Marine position, closing fast. The Syrian commander saw aircraft overhead, ordered air defense, ZSU 23-4. Shilka self-propelled anti-aircraft guns activated, quad 23mm cannons, radar guided, effective against low-flying aircraft, started firing. Tracer rounds arced skyward. The A-10s were designed for this. Armored cockpit, redundant systems, can absorb 23mm hits. Captain Mitchell wasn't worried. She was focused. 40 tanks, 4 aircraft, 10 kills per aircraft required. Achievable, standard. This was the mission the A-10 was designed for. The attack began at 7:11 a.m. Captain Mitchell rolled in first. Dove from 12,000 feet, descended to 8,000 feet, lined up on lead Syrian tanks, armed the GAU-8, airspeed 350 knots, angle 30 degrees, perfect gun run parameters. She pressed the trigger. The Avenger roared. Brrrt! The sound that ground forces love. The sound armor crews fear. The sound that means 30mm depleted uranium is incoming at 3,900 rounds per minute. Captain Mitchell held the trigger for 3 seconds. Fired 195 rounds. The stream of fire walked across 5 T-72 tanks. The depleted uranium penetrators punched through turret armor, destroyed fire control, killed crews, detonated ammunition. 3 tanks exploded immediately. Turrets blown 30 feet into the air by internal detonations. 2 more caught fire. Crews bailed out burning. 5 tanks destroyed in 3 seconds of gunfire. The Syrian advance faltered. If you're enjoying this deep dive into modern warfare, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Captain Rodriguez attacked at 7:11 in 30 seconds. Second A-10 targeted the middle of Syrian formation. Same profile. 8,000 feet, 350 knots, GAU-8 singing. 4-second burst, 260 rounds, 6 T-72 tanks shredded. The 30mm rounds came from above. Hit weaker top armor. Penetrated engine decks. Destroyed power plants. Set fuel tanks ablaze. The Syrian tanks died. Burned. Their crews died inside. Some ejected. Most didn't make it. 11 Syrian tanks destroyed in 90 seconds. The armor assault was collapsing. 29 tanks remained. Still dangerous. Still advancing. Still trying to reach the Marines. Still going to die. Captain Williams engaged at 7:12 a.m., 3rd A-10. He selected AGM-65 Maverick missiles, locked infrared seeker onto tank heat signatures, fired 2 missiles, watched them track, hit. 2 T-72s exploded, switched to gun, dove to 6,000 feet, closer, more dangerous, more effective. Triggered 3-second burst, 195 rounds, 4 more tanks, 15 Syrian T-72s destroyed, 25 remained. The Syrian commander was screaming into radio, requesting air support, requesting retreat authorization. Getting neither. Syrian Air Force couldn't challenge American air superiority. Syrian command wouldn't authorize withdrawal. The tankers were trapped, exposed, being systematically slaughtered by aircraft they couldn't escape. The Shilka anti-aircraft guns fired desperately at 7:13 a.m. Thousands of 23mm rounds. Created walls of flak. Captain Kim's A-10 took hits. 15 rounds struck the aircraft, punctured left wing, damaged hydraulics. Warning lights illuminated. She ignored them. Continued attack. Fired Mavericks. 2 missiles. 2 kills. Dove for gun run. The damaged A-10 handled sluggishly. Hydraulic pressure dropping. She compensated. Lined up. Fired. 4-second burst. 5 more tanks destroyed. Her A-10 was damaged but flying. Still fighting. Still killing. That's the Warthog. Absorbs damage. Keeps fighting. Design philosophy proven again. 22 Syrian tanks destroyed. 18 remained. Don't miss what comes next. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an analysis like this. The Syrian BMP infantry vehicles tried to support their tanks at 7:14 a.m., fired AT-5 Spandrel anti-tank missiles at the A-10s. Wire-guided missiles, effective against armor, useless against maneuvering aircraft. The A-10s evaded easily, broke lock. The Warthogs retaliated, switched targets to BMPs, lighter armor, easier kills. Captain Mitchell fired 2.75-inch rocket pods, 19 rockets per pod, 38 rockets total. The rockets saturated BMP formation, destroyed 6 vehicles, killed infantry inside. The Syrian ground fire was suppressed. The A-10s owned the battlefield. Syrian forces were dying. Couldn't fight back effectively, couldn't escape, could only die. The second gun run cycle began at 7:15 a.m. All 4 A-10s had reloaded, had repositioned, ready for another pass. The remaining 18 T-72s tried to disperse, break formation, deny the A-10s mass targets, but desert terrain offered no cover. The tanks were visible, trackable, killable. Captain Rodriguez went first. Targeted 3 tanks attempting to flank. Gun run from 5,000 feet. 5-second burst. 325 rounds. All 3 tanks destroyed. The depleted uranium rounds were designed for this. Penetrated T-72 armor easily. Syrian reactive armor was ineffective. Couldn't stop kinetic penetrators traveling 3,250 feet per second. The tanks burned. Captain Williams engaged at 7:16 a.m., fired remaining Mavericks. 4 missiles, 4 tanks, perfect hits. The infrared seekers locked onto engine heat. The missiles struck from above, penetrated thin top armor, detonated inside crew compartments. Catastrophic kills. The shaped charge warheads were devastating against armor. 9 Syrian tanks remained. They stopped advancing, started retreating, trying to escape. Too late. The A-10s pursued, hunting. Captain Mitchell and Captain Kim made final gun runs at 7:17 a.m. Targeted retreating tanks. No mercy, no quarter. This was close air support. Save the Marines. Kill the enemy. That's the mission. Captain Mitchell fired 6-second burst. 390 rounds. Destroyed 4 fleeing tanks. Captain Kim, flying damaged aircraft, fired 4-second burst. 260 rounds. Killed 3 more tanks. 2 Syrian T-72s remained. Tried to surrender. Crews bailed out. Raised hands. The A-10s ceased fire. Called Marines. Reaper 2-3, Hog 01. Area secure. 40 tanks destroyed. Some BMPs destroyed. Enemy infantry surrendering. The Marines advanced. Secured prisoners. The battle was over. Was this the most devastating close air support strike in history? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Total engagement time, 23 minutes. From first gun run at 7:11 a.m. to final ceasefire at 7:34 a.m. Syrian T-72 tanks destroyed, 40. Syrian BMP vehicles destroyed, 14. Syrian air defense systems destroyed, 3. Syrian casualties, estimated 380 killed, 120 wounded, 40 captured. U.S. Marine casualties during the engagement, 0. The A-10s had arrived just in time, had saved the Marine position, had destroyed an entire armored battalion, 4 aircraft, 23 minutes, total victory. The strategic impact was immediate. Syrian military lost an entire armor battalion, equipment worth $180 million, trained crews that couldn't be replaced. The psychological impact was worse. Syrian forces learned that American close air support was devastating, that tanks couldn't survive A-10 attack, that armor assaults against U.S. Marines were suicide. Future Syrian operations avoided American positions, maintained distance, refused engagement. The A-10 strike had created deterrent effect that lasted for years. This kind of detailed tactical breakdown takes hours to research. Subscribe to help us keep making them. The Marine commander sent message after battle. Hog flight. You saved our asses. Thank you, Captain Mitchell replied simply. That's what we do. That's the A-10 mission. Support troops. Kill enemy armor. Win battles. The Marines would request A-10 support in every subsequent engagement. Trusted the Warthog completely. Knew that when the BRRRRT sound came, victory followed. The relationship between ground forces and A-10 pilots is unique. built on trust, built on performance, built on missions like October 4th, where 4 aircraft saved 200 Marines from being overrun by 40 tanks. The A-10C proved its continued relevance after this engagement. Critics claimed the aircraft was obsolete, too slow, too vulnerable. October 4th proved otherwise. 4 A-10s destroyed 40 tanks while under anti-aircraft fire. 1 aircraft absorbed 15 hits and continued fighting. No other aircraft could have achieved this result. F-35s couldn't carry enough ammunition for sustained gun runs. F-16s lacked armor to survive ground fire. Only the A-10 combined firepower, survivability, and loiter time necessary for this mission. The Warthog was irreplaceable. Your engagement directly shapes what we cover next. Drop a comment and subscribe. For the 380 Syrian soldiers who died in that desert, October 4th was their final battle. Most died in their tanks, burned alive, killed by penetrating rounds. Some died in BMPs, killed by rockets. Others died in the open, caught by 30mm fire while fleeing. Their bodies were recovered over the following week. Families received notification. Military funerals. But the truth was simple. They'd attacked U.S. Marines. The Marines called for air support. The A-10s responded. Technology and training defeated numbers. They'd never had a chance. From the moment Hog Flight arrived, the outcome was predetermined. If you made it this far, you're the core of our community. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell. October 4th, 2025 demonstrated why close air support remains critical in modern warfare, why ground forces need dedicated attack aircraft, why the A-10 Thunderbolt II remains the gold standard for supporting troops in contact. 4 aircraft destroyed 40 tanks in 23 minutes, saved 200 Marines from being overrun. Did it under fire? Did it with 1 aircraft damaged? Did it perfectly. This is what the A-10 was designed for. This is why it will remain in service for decades. Because no other aircraft does what it does, kills what it kills, saves who it saves. The GAU-8 Avenger proved once again it's the most lethal aircraft gun ever built. Approximately 2,500 rounds fired during engagement. Hit rate estimated at 85%. Every burst destroyed vehicles. Every gun run killed tanks. The 30mm depleted uranium ammunition performed exactly as designed. Penetrated T-72 armor, defeated reactive armor, created catastrophic kills. The gun that flies lived up to its reputation. Syrian armor learned why it's feared, why ground forces hear brrrr-t and either celebrate or die depending on which side they're on. October 4th, 2025 will be studied in close air support courses forever. The textbook engagement, the perfect demonstration of A-10 capabilities, the mission that saved Marine lives and destroyed enemy armor battalion, 4 aircraft, 23 minutes, 40 tanks destroyed, 0 friendly casualties, complete tactical victory, total strategic success. That's the A-10 Thunderbolt II. That's American close air support. That's why the Warthog will never be retired. Because when Marines are in trouble, when armor attacks, when the situation is desperate, there's only one call they make. Send the A-10s. Send the Warthogs. Send the BRRT. And then watch as the most devastating ground attack aircraft ever built turns enemy armor into burning wreckage.